Oh, yes. Still on the hard stuff. Bloody hell, I know how to party. No music in the background, still being a good boy, but I have been listening to that. Gary Newman, Two-Way Army. Yeah, Cars. One of the greatest #1 hit singles this country's ever had, in my opinion. There you go. My opinion counts for bugger all, really. Right, vinyl finds buys for last month. I've already done a video, the Leicester Record Fair. But I thought if I added that stuff to this stuff, it's going to be an epic, as per usual. Now, a lot of these, in fact all of them, I'm sure I ordered in November, December, but because of all the bloody postal strikes we had around that period here in Britain, I never showed up till last month, January, well into January. So yeah, anything caught up in that never arrived till January. I've counted as a buy in January, even though I ordered them in December, start of November, at the end of November, sorry. Confused? Yes, well, I am as well. Oh dear. Anyway, I think I've got about 10 7-inch singles and 3 albums, 2 by the same band, and one of them is my buy of the year so far, and it's going to take something special to beat it, I think. So here we go. First 7-inch single, Dave Brubeck, Take 5. Now, I'm no jazz fan. I don't really care much for jazz, but I do like this tune. It's one of those, you hear it on the radio, you can sort of hum away to and tap your fingers and that. And I heard it in the lorry at work on the old Golden Oldie radio station. I found myself sort of tapping away on the steering wheel and humming away. The only other jazz records I've got Ramsey Lewis Trio, Wade in the Water, and his cover of The In Crowd, originally done by Doobie Gray. I think that's sort of soul, jazz, funk. Will I be buying any more jazz records? I doubt it. As I say, I'm not a fan. I don't particularly care much for jazz, but I do like that song. If I do hear the odd one or two I like and sort of hum away and clap my hands and good, not when I'm driving and whatever too, I'll perhaps pick it up. But I don't see myself getting into jazz. Never really been my sort of thing. Next one, Edwin Starr, the late great Edwin Starr, and this is Contact on the 20th Century Fox Records label. Great soul singer, Edwin Starr. I've seen Edwin Starr a good few years ago. Oh blimey, it's back in the 80s, many years ago. Yeah, he used to do gigs, concerts, whatever you want to call them, the old scooter rallies. He made a bit of a comeback back then in the 80s, around 85 up until about the end of the 80s. yeah, a lot of his records and tunes out were played at sort of scootering bass music doos and dancing away to them and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, he became quite sort of popular again, and he used to be booked to do gigs and all that, and yeah, brilliant stuff. Edwin Starr, see him a couple of times back in the day. Um, Diana Ross on the Motown label. I loved his old Motown company sleeves. Sorry, doesn't always make it all right. Love a bit of Motown. Of course, Edwin Starr performed on the Motown label as well for a time. Howard Jones, we're going into the 80s now. Howard Jones, Pearl in Shell. WEA Records. I hope you can see these all okay. I never bloody well know. Sticking in the 80s, Blancmange, Don't Tell Me. I think I heard this on somebody else's VC channel, but I can't remember who. Well, I saw them showing the record, and then oh yeah, I recognise that one, and I went and checked it out via YouTube. That's on the London label. Nice picture on the front there, a couple of budgerigars. Back on the Motown label now. Now I heard this on an American chap's VC video being played in the background. Festival Time by the San Remo Strings. Great Northern Soul floor filler dance record. A lot of these sort of Motown tunes were adopted by the Northern Soul crowd, dancing away to. And I do remember this one, but I would never have remembered what its name was unless I'd seen it on that specific VC channel. It was somebody who was filming at a record fair, but I can't remember who the chap was or what the channel name was, but I think I did comment on the video. But yeah, great Northern Soul floor filler, Festival Time by the San Remo Strings. And I think while I was, yeah, I'll save that one for a minute or two. This one I also heard via the video, the same chap's video, and that's Sliced Tomatoes or Tomatoes by the Just Brothers. Another great Northern Soul floor filler. Eloise Laws is on the other side, The Love Factory. Another great track. So yeah, two tunes, Northern Soul type tunes, the same VC video. And while I was looking for those two records via Discogs, well, I was more or less interested in how much it's going to cost first, because I hear and see a lot of tunes on VC videos and I think, oh blimey, I wouldn't mind that, and then when I go and investigate how much, a bit out of my price range. Those two were, I think they're about £7 or £8 each or something like that. And when I found them, I accidentally came across one I do remember from back in the day, back in the 80s, on the Brunswick label, and that's Purple Haze by Johnny Jones and the King Casuals. Now, I always sort of remembered that there was a kind of a Purple Haze cover, Northern Soul cover, back in the day. Of course, Purple Haze, one of my favourite Jimi Hendrix songs. I used to think to myself, am I dreaming? Was there really I couldn't quite remember, but I was kind of sure there was. And sure enough, I found it by accident when I was buying those two, the last two from the same seller. And on the other side, there happened to be another Northern Soul classic I remember from back in the day called There Was a Time by Gene Chandler. So I've got two fantastic Northern Soul songs on the same 7-inch single there, plus the other two I heard by the VC channel. I was pleased as punch with them. I do love Northern Soul. I used to go to Northern Soul events by the scootering scene back in the 80s. I couldn't dance to this stuff. Not wearing combat trousers and 14-hole airwear boots and all that sort of stuff, which is how I sort of ended up getting into the ska and the skinhead reggae stuff and the punk stuff and all that. But we'll save that for another day. I had a girlfriend though who could dance to it. She weren't brilliant like some of these people you see in the videos on YouTube, but she could dance. Don't Leave Me This Way, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Lovely company sleeve. I do love it when you get a company sleeve matched up properly with a 7-inch single. Again, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes on the other side. To be free, to be who we are. That's Don't Leave Me This Way. Great soul tune. I heard that in the Golden Oldie radio station. I have one every morning when I'm at work. Yeah, just thought I'd show these again. I'm still loving them, Mike. I'm still playing them. Got these as VCLT from Berwickshire, Mike. Tony Hancock, one of my favourite British comedians, star of radio, TV, film. Yeah, still playing them, still loving them, mate. Again, thank you very much for them. So that's the 7-inch singles. 3 LPs. 2 of them by the same band. This is Palmer International. A big favourite of mine. I don't think I've ever shown any of their stuff in the VC, album-wise. I've just done a Martin Harris competition response. I did show a Palmer International 7-inch single there, coloured vinyl. This is plain black vinyl. For anybody who doesn't know, Palmer International, they do soul, Northern Soul, I suppose, Motown, reggae, skinhead reggae, a bit of dub and that. They're a great band. Highly recommend going to see them if they're in your area. Yeah, I think this is their first album, if I remember right. I've got some of their stuff already in the collection, but I'm sort of getting into the mood of trying to complete various discographies, collections. So yeah, this is one I didn't have. This was going cheap on Discogs for 10 quid, so I snapped it up. I haven't played it yet. And again, Palmer International. I can't remember, actually, that's the front. You don't really make much difference, does it? This is number 27 of 212. Yeah, again, much in the same vein as the other one I've shown. I will do a video sometime, Palmer International. I have seen them live. Me and the missus saw them years ago. She won tickets via Facebook to go and see them in Cambridge. Bloody fantastic. Yeah, and I'm sure they're named after the old ska reggae label, Palmer. This one, Bitty McLean on Bond Street. I heard this in the background of John, 6-inch Pianists, one of his videos, and I said to him, who on earth's that in the background you're playing there? It's great sort of ska reggae beat to it. And he told me what it was, and I went looking for it, and I think I found it via eBay. for about 25 quid, something like that. So I snapped it up straight away, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, I haven't played this actual album. I've only heard it via the internet. Absolutely loved it. Excuse me. Yeah, highly recommended. If it's as good as what it sounds via the internet, definite purchase of the year so far. And that's yeah, Bitty McLean on Bond Street. Bitty McLean and Supersonics. Great album. Highly recommended. So there you go. 3 albums and about 10 singles, I think. Purchases for last month. Well, some of them arrived last month, although I did order them end of November and into December. But yeah, British postal strikes buggered everything up around that time. Everybody's out on strike. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, taking time out to watch, drop a comment, whatever. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you again soon. Cheers.